welcome for another edition. That's right, of In the Pocket, all thanks to Palmerbet, where we talk everything AFL footy with the legend himself in Peter Spida Everett. Spida, well, it's fair to say it has been a massive week in footy, mate, with the news, of course, yesterday, that Stewie Jew sacked as the coach of the Gold Coast Suns. What's happening up there on the Gold Coast, big fella?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, the president, he comes home from a trip to Vietnam and then suddenly says, "You're gone, you're bunter." And, it was only 4 days ago, Mark Evans said, "You know what? We've got you back." And that's when you know they're gone. But look, yeah, it is. There's a couple of stories there. Look, I really, I feel for Stewie, but at the same time, he knows coaching's about results. And, they're in no better position than they were 12 months ago. They might be with certain development of players, but, definitely when, you look at ladder positions, absolutely not. So, the big question is now, who do they get in? Who does that new coach bring with them, including, some of the hierarchy? And there's some of the hierarchy at the Gold Coast Suns have been there for the last appointment of 2 coaches and done no good. So will they start reviewing the whole club? And, they've been in the competition 13 years, so it's really, really tough for a new side. And we know how much money the AFL pumps into the Gold Coast Suns as well. Yeah. So they do need success. And, if you're a sporting fan, if you're around both codes, NRL on the Gold Coast have done exactly the same. They got rid of their coach only a month ago. They put Desi Hasler in, already called out who's their coach, which I prefer, I like. We know Desi's coming to coach the Titans, and we know what he's going to bring. I think the Gold Coast Suns need to do the same. Don't wait until September, October. You don't sack a coach thinking you're going to go through a process and hoping you're going to get someone. You know who you want.
And I suppose that's the next question, Spide. Surely, is it Damien Hardwick? I think, just the way it's all kind of happened and, a 5-year kind of long-term deal up there out of the Melbourne bubble would be attractive for someone like Dimmer, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And you look, everything falls into that pocket. Everything absolutely does. You know that Paul Connors, who looks after Dimmer, isn't silly. They know what they've been able to do. They know he was cooked. He was never going to continue on at Richmond. He'd ran his race. So they said, you know what? Let's give me my 6 months now, because a new coach coming in has to be ready come October. October, you start your trades. You start looking at your draft. So you need to be on the ball. So let me have my time off now, go overseas, do wherever I want. We know Hardwick had some personal issues over the last 12 months as well. Coming to the Gold Coast can absolutely sort all that out. So, he knew that, putting his hand up mid-season, there was going to be maybe, West Coast. There was going to be, you didn't know what was going to happen at the Gold Coast Suns. Who knew what was going to happen at Carlton? Port Adelaide were on the nose earlier in the year. So there was always going to be a couple of opportunities. It's cherry ripe right now. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you get on the front foot, announce it early, make the call, and as you said, get things going? The 2 Ds, big Ds, Desi Hasler and Dimmer up there on the Gold Coast.
Absolutely, the double Ds. We all have a good set of double Ds up here. So that's what the Gold Coast is known for.
Hey, listen, Tigers kept their finals hopes alive too. That was a good win against the Swannies, mate. We've just got a pulse at Tigerland.
Yeah, you have. You've just, you know what? And I saw it a few months ago on the internet when there was a lady, she was in her coffin at the funeral, and suddenly she started coughing and put up her hand. That's the Tigers. They're alive somehow. But look, I think we're going to look at the top 8 shortly and who can make it and who can't. But, I think, as you know, Tigers, they just lost 1 or 2 games within a kick, and it's come back to haunt them again, because you really just need to be that fraction closer.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Collingwood and Port just getting the job done. Winning the games they should win. They're the 2 informed teams, and you probably chuck Brisbane in the mix as well for mine. Top 3 at the moment. That's where they sit on the ladder. They're the teams to beat, Spide.
Yeah, they are. And Collingwood were impressive again. It doesn't matter which part of the field you look for. You see Jamie Elliott step up and, DeGoey getting back into it. And for me, for Port Adelaide, the young fellas of Connor Rosie and Butters and these guys, they were challenged. They had a real good game on their hands and then just blew it away. And Brisbane's doing exactly what Brisbane need to do. So I better turn my phone off.
I love it, mate. Hey, what about the Dons? That was a really impressive victory against the Crows that are just going win, loss, win, loss. They can't win on the road, the Crows. There's been some good performances, but it's just hot and cold, isn't it? You know, they're so good at home, but when they get on the road, it's a different kettle of fish.
They're a cracking side. They're you know, and they've
I
really
like
challenged
them
it.
too.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people have been surprised this year with their output. And as you say, it's just those wins away from home. And you don't want to be known from that, because then suddenly that just starts coming into the memory bank. And every time you travel, you're reminded about it. The media talk about it. So the earlier they get some wins on the road, the better for them. But, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how they unfold, you know, towards the end of the year and where they end up. But, yeah, for me, you know, they're probably still a year or two away.
What about the Blue Baggers, mate? They're just kind of giving their supporters or their supporter base just a little bit of life, aren't they? And they're getting up and about 3 in a row. That was a good victory, especially early against the Dockers. Dockers really disappointing again, Spide.
Well, the Dockers are the same as Adelaide. You're not quite sure, are you? And you know, the Dockers can actually do it at home as well. Play some pretty bad footy at home, because that's just been the Dockers all year. But Carlton, like, where was this? And this is what the supporters are going to say. Where was this 6 weeks ago? Yeah. Where was this 8 weeks ago? You know, you lose 10 or 12 straight, and then suddenly you come out with 3 cracking games and you're starting to look alive again. But, you know, you're running too late. And sometimes when, you know, a lot of teams are there sitting there looking towards the end of the year, is it just junk footy? Because realistically, there's probably 12. I think there's only 10 teams in it. So, you know, you kind of sit there and go, well, you know, is it junk time footy? Where was it when the pressure really come on?
Disappointing, isn't it? Just that start of the year, because
you'd love to see him playing finals.
Oh, I'd love to see it. I just don't know whether it's going to happen. And talking about that, let's have a look at the odds, all thanks to Palmerbet, for teams to make the final 8. Now, Port Adelaide, Collingwood, Brisbane, they're a lock. Okay, so we take them out of the mix. So Melbourne currently sitting in 4th. They're $1.01. Pointless kind of having anything on there. Essendon are 5th. They're into $1.28. St Kilda are 6th, $1.91. So still a bit of a price there to get the Saints in the top 8. Western Bulldogs are 7th. They're $1.28. Geelong, they're sitting in 8th position at the moment. They're $1.40, so they've tightened right up. Adelaide, 32 points at the moment. They're at $1.91. GWS, the real surprise packet in 2023 for mine. They're currently, what are they, half a game outside. They're at $4. Carlton, they're a full game out. They're at $4. Richmond, a full game out and percentage at $4. Gold Coast, 28 points. So they're a couple of games out, $9.50. Fremantle, a couple of games out at $10. And Sydney, well, they're at $9.50 to pull off a miracle. What do you think it's, Spide? Like, is there a little smoky to get in? Is Richmond the Giants? Are they the smoky?
Look, I've had a look at this, and I honestly believe that, as you said, Melbourne, absolute lock. Yeah, I mean, like, no one Melbourne. And then I looked at the Saints, Bombers, and the Dogs.
Yep.
They're the 3.
Yep.
Now, every one of those teams play the Cats.
Yeah, right.
So I reckon Geelong will make it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you don't beat Geelong, you don't make finals. That's how as simple as that, because most of them play the Kangaroos or West Coast or Hawthorn. So a lot of them have got 2, maybe 3 games, which you'll say they're pretty good locks.
Yeah.
So, you know, but funny that they all play each other. So whoever, Saints, Bombers and Dogs, you go along and beat the Cats. So the Dogs have got the Bombers and also the Cats. So kind of make it a little bit harder. So if I said one to miss out, as much as I love the Dogs, and I still reckon they might get up this weekend, I probably reckon it's going to be the Dogs.
Yeah, right.
So the Saints, for me, $1.91, probably just jump on that. But then again, you see what happens this weekend. They face the Suns after a sacking of a coach, and no team wins after a sacking of a coach. So, yeah. But that's how
the Bulldogs miss, right? So who's the team then? Who do you think? Adelaide, Giants,
Geelong will make it.
Yeah, but Geelong are in there at the moment, so you need another one. If the Bulldogs come out, you need to slot either Adelaide, Giants, Carlton, or Richmond.
See, for me, I still like the Giants.
Yep. $4. Getting $4.
I reckon the Giants are doing enough, and I don't think it's not that people don't respect them. I reckon they underestimate them.
Yeah,
I reckon they underestimate the bit of quality that they've got and their ability, and they don't play a brand of football like, you're fast throwing, Richmond. You know what Richmond's going to try and do. You
Yeah.
know what Collingwood want to try and do. GWS are a little bit unconventional like that, but they get wins. And even without Toby Green doing that, they still have players popping up. Like Caniglio last weekend was unbelievable. So I reckon they've still got a lot of fight in them. So for me, I don't mind GWS.
Righto, mate. Let's turn our attention to round 18 action. It's going to be an absolute ripper. Sydney for the Western Bulldogs Thursday night, the SCG 7:20. This is huge. Sydney Swans $1.75, Bulldogs 2.10. Sydney at the line -4.5, $1.90. Western Bulldogs +4.5, $1.90. We know the SCG conducive to lower scores, Spida. Are we expecting a really tight, titanic struggle here, mate?
Yeah, you would. You'd expect that. But at the same time, you've seen both teams have been pretty good over the last couple of weeks. Sydney since they, smashed West Coast and, they've been competitive. You look at the conditions. The Dogs, I thought, were a little bit stiff against Collingwood. Collingwood come out after halftime, went bang, 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 and pretty much just hit that margin. But don't forget, they should have really been 5 goals up in the first 15 minutes, the Dogs, against the Pies. Yeah. So they really got off to a flyer. So I reckon the Dogs are still in good nick. The Dogs, if they'd beaten Collingwood last weekend, they're in top 4. They would have been 5th. Or
and Sydney were good against Geelong 2 weeks ago on their home deck as well. So it's interesting.
It is. So I reckon the Dogs. Are in pretty good shape. And I go through this, and we will go through every team. And I reckon there's a lot of. I don't know what Palmer bet's doing, but I must be looking at other games because there's a couple of really good odds out there. So for me, I'll be taking the Dogs.
Right, so the Bulldogs, mate, at $2.10. I like it, big fella. Melbourne v Brisbane Friday night at the MCG. Head-to-head, the Demons $1.75, Brisbane 2.10. At the line, Melbourne -4.5, $1.90, Brisbane +4.5, $1.90. This is all because of Brisbane at the MCG, mate, but this should be the other way around. Brisbane are up and about at the moment, and I can't have the Demons. I reckon they're Jekyll and Hyde, mate. I reckon the Lions are an absolute special here, Spide.
Yeah, well, absolutely, and I'm kind of thinking with you is that you think what was the main thing about Melbourne's game last week other than Petrarca, which was a surprise up forward. They're not going to fall for that card twice, so Brisbane's going to be prepared and know what to do with that. And the other one was Stephen May was brilliant down back. Now you won't be able to be that brilliant against a full line like Brisbane. They got a whole different setup than what he saw last week. So he won't be taking his 8 or 9 intercept marks. So I reckon the Lions are a great bet here. Yep, they've got the MCG to overcome, but you know what? They've got to overcome. If they're ready to go and fired up, it has to be against the D's. So, I haven't seen anything special out of Melbourne over the last month of footy, so I'm going to stick with the Lions.
Yeah, I'm with the Lions. I'm all over the Lions. I reckon they're going really well at the moment. I reckon Fagan and have the boys pumped up to get this MCG hoodoo off their back. There's two that we reckon Palmerbet's got wrong. Yeah, I'm with you, mate. Collingwood v Fremantle, Saturday, 1:45 the MCG. Head-to-head, the Pies $1.10. Fremantle at $7 at the line. Collingwood -40.5, $1.90. Fremantle +40.5, $1.90. Late Emma's there here, mate. Disappointing the Dockers. Pies get the job done at the G.
They are, and I think it's more so, can they really just, they don't really need to train for it or adapt for it. Can, Dacos go on and win a Brownlow? Short price favourite. He's come into every game. He's been unbelievable. And so for me, I think that's the fun of watching Collingwood at the moment. I think a lot of eyes are on Collingwood to see how Dacos goes week in, week out. Short price Brownlow favourite. Will he continue on? Nervous time for the young fella because there's so many rounds left. They've still got a lot of finals, and I know you say you don't think about it, but when you're in the position he's in, you've got to think about it because we all are. Yeah, no, absolutely. I reckon it'd be just in the back of the head there too, but he's a Dacos, mate. They're unbelievable talents. Hey, Gold Coast v St Kilda, Saturday 2:10 at Heritage Bank Stadium. Of course, new coach will be at the helm. We don't even know who that is at the time of recording. No, Big King. Oh, it's Big Kingy, is it? Yeah, so you know what? Whoever thought Ruckman were going to start taking over the world? Wowzers. There you go. That's fantastic. The AFL's going to start turning in its own grave, knowing that the Ruckman's a coach. Mate, there's hope for you yet, Spider. There is hope for you yet. So Come on. So Big Kingy will take over the reins against the Saints, okay? So no King for St Kilda. And the other King was a bit disappointing. He was subbed out one possession against the Power last week. Head-to-head, the Gold Coast $1.50, St Kilda $2.60.
Gold Coast at the line minus 11.5 $1.90. St Kilda at plus 11.5 $1.90. Mate, is this back to front here too? I can't work out 260 for the Saints.
Either can I. And the Saints are, as you say, like they're in the top 8 at this stage. Gold Coast can't even make finals. And disappointing to see the King brothers won't go head to head. And gee, it was a bad weekend for them. We saw Big Maxi, go down, and then Benny King was sitting on the bench after one possession and 3 meters sideways, Stewie Jew, and you could feel the frost between them. Just having the one possession, so it wasn't a good look.
Nah, and you just wonder whether that might have played a little bit of, I think it was a bit of a statement from Big Stewie, wasn't it? It doesn't matter if you're the best player or the worst player, you can get subbed off at any time.
Yeah, you can't do that to your big superstars when you struggle to get it forward as it is. Yep, give him an absolute bag, give him a roast, do whatever you need to do, but
keep him out
there. You've got to keep him out there. Look, and how many times have we said it? I believe the Saints should win this, but after a coach gets sacked, what happens? For some reason, teams just relax. They play an open brand of footy, a fun brand of footy. Saints have got a lot of injuries, but at the same time, the Saints need to win this to stay in finals. Yeah, they've got to start winning games. They've been just short a few weeks. They've got to come up here and really gel and really hit them hard. So I'm going to stick with the Saints, knowing their pressure game should outdo them.
Righto, so that is 3 outsiders out of 3 games for you, Spide. Righto, next game.
Anyway,
This is the odds of Palmer bet. They're just giving everybody a chance, I reckon. They're just
wait till you see what my top 8. I can't wait to see what it's worth. Pick 9.
Hey, next game, Carlton v Port Adelaide, Saturday, 4:35, Marvel Stadium. This is going to be huge. Blue supporters will be out there looking for 4 on the trot. Carlton head-to-head, $2.25. Port Adelaide, $1.65. At the line, Carlton plus 7.5, $1.90. Port Adelaide minus 7.5, $1.90. Is it a little danger game here for the Power? The Blues are up and about a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Port, they've been going okay, but they haven't been, overly convincing. They've really had to battle through their games. They've had to really rely on a couple of players stepping up. We saw Houston just kick one, after the siren to give them a win a couple of weeks ago. What about Pel Pepper kicker, one from Oregon, 65 torpy on the weekend, one of the great kicks of all time. But yeah, for me, Port Adelaide, I think, are still good enough to beat Carlton. Carlton, and this is the hardest thing. We often say it's not who you play, it's when you play them. And Carlton are chock-a-block full of confidence. So this could absolutely go Carlton's way. I'd get out there and support them. But for me, Port Adelaide still need to continue to win. They need that top 2 finish, and they need that double chance, especially at home.
Imagine if the Blue Baggers can make it 4 on the trot and defeat an in-form kind of Port Adelaide and stop that 14-game winning streak. That'd be huge.
They'll be coming home too. The Blue Baggers in Logon Street will be massive.
Hey, listen, next game, Saturday night. This all of a sudden is a massive game too for both sides. Geelong v Essendon, GMHBA Stadium. A lot of conjecture, a lot of talk during the week, Spot, about this game being there. They thought the stadium was going to be finished, but it isn't. Head-to-head, the Cats $1.34, Essendon $3.30, Geelong at the line minus 21.5, $1.90. Essendon plus 21.5, $1.90. I'm going to beat this game, Spot. I'm looking forward to this. I reckon it's going to be an absolute belter because Essendon are up and about at the moment.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the odds are a little bit wrong. Yeah, Cats have been okay. I think they were a little bit disappointing over the weekend. You saw their forwards didn't really click the week before with Gary Rowan and everyone just running amok. So, look, I don't mind the Bombers. The Bombers have been in good shape all year. You know what they've been? They've been honest. And I think that's all the coaches asked. They said, if you can be honest, I'm happy. And when you look at the Cats at home, they know they are beatable at home. GWS got them at home. So can the Bombers win? I reckon they can. I reckon they can knock off the Cats. Dangerfield and these guys, they have a good brand of footy, but at the same time, they are beatable. If they get quick and they turn it over and they've got a vocal point up forward, the Bombers, which they have, they've got a couple now, I reckon they can turn it on.
So where you going, mate? You going Essendon?
I'm going Bombers.
Wow. Your pick 8 this week is pick 9 is going to be huge, mate. It is going to be phenomenal. Righto, Adelaide v GWS, another ripping game of footy at the Adelaide Oval. Okay, they're flying at home. The Crows, they've won their last 6 at home. $1.40. Giants at $3. Adelaide at the line minus 16.5, $1.90. GWS plus 16.5, $1.90. What are you thinking, Spide? The home curse again?
Yeah. No, like and I'm not going all the underdog or outsiders because I don't think, but I totally believe you kind of situate and pick the 8. And, for me, GWS is a side that's going under the radar. And I reckon GWS can get this. I truly believe that, watching them over, we've followed them pretty close, not closely, but we've been big fans of them for a long time, even from round 3, round 4, saying, you know what, I think they're probably a little bit underestimated. And Adelaide have absolutely got their highlights with, Jordan and all the others, your big Tex and all that. But at the moment, the Giants have got the running capacity. They're actually got everybody on the same page, running at the same pace, and got multiple options going forward. You just can't pinpoint one option. Jesse Hogan's getting his hand on it. We know what Toby Green's capable of. We spoke about their leaders, but it's their guys underneath the leaders that are really stepping up as well. I reckon the Giants can get an upset here as well.
Wowzers, mate. This is just building.
Are you going Adelaide?
I think Adelaide at home. I just reckon they just do. They get up. They're just a lot better side at home, they're disappointing last week on the road, but the week before that on the road was against Collingwood, against probably the best team in the comp at the moment. So I reckon they're going good enough to get the job done. North Melbourne v Hawthorn on Sunday. This is just such an even round of footy, to be honest.
It's a great round of footy. Yeah, the AFL can't really pick it any better because all of those games pretty much have results on finals, and now we start having a look at even the bottom of the ladder. And North Melbourne, Clarko back, comes against his old side, so sits there and goes, well, you know what? Can the Hawks beat North, or can North get up? And both teams really deserve a win. I'd love to see North Melbourne get a win. I'd love to see Lark kick 8 or 9 goals and North Melbourne have an absolute cracker. Hopefully they bring Toddy Goldstein back, but the Hawks get Sicily back. So for me, I reckon Hawthorn's going to be strong enough. Hawthorn are going to be, they're a good side. They've really challenged a lot of big teams this year and just fallen short. So for me, I'm going to stick with the Hawks.
And they're at $1.50 head-to-head. Kangaroos $2.55, and at the line plus $12.50 for the Kangas, minus $12.50 for the Hawks at $1.90. So, Hawks for Spida there. That's the only favour you've gone, I reckon, this round. West Coast v Richmond.
No, I went Melbourne. Collingwood v Freo.
Sorry, you did too. West Coast v Richmond Sunday, 4:40 Optus Stadium, head-to-head. The Weagles $7. The Tigers $1.10. Gee whiz, that's short for mine. West Coast at the line plus $41.50, $1.90. Richmond minus $41.50, $1.90. I reckon the line's the play here, isn't it, Spy? Do you reckon?
Yeah, look, West Coast have been good. West Coast have been really good.
Last 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. They've stood up and really challenged. Richmond also then on the vice versa have been great as well. They're really starting to find their run. They're starting to get, Shai Bolton starting to get his hand on the ball. He's starting to produce what we kind of expected. Now, we know what happened last time. Richmond headed over to WA, so we want to make sure they don't there's every player comes home. That's the main point. Richmond going over to WA. No, just want to make sure. So, look, I'm going with the Tigers. I think the Tigers at home. At West Coast, they love that oval. They can run. They can
top
open
of the deck,
it up.
fast
they
track.
Put their jets on. Dusty's only got another 7 weeks left before he comes to the GWS with Hardwick. So let's make sure they get a couple of wins in the bank before he comes up here.
Wouldn't that be a huge story? Love it, mate. Hey, listen, your bets from last week, mate. Seal the deal. You didn't seal it, big fella. None from three. Saints, Bulldogs, Adelaide. All went down. All right. So they had their chance to seal their finals fates.
Like Bulldogs should have. When you lose your big man, I'm not going to sit there and argue every point, but
yes. I'm with you, mate. I'm half with you, mate. And make or break, you were close enough. GWS, Geelong and Carlton, the win by 25 plus. 2 out of 3. The Giants won by 13. So you're only a couple of goals, a couple of kicks away there. That was a decent price too.
And I'll tell you what, if you could on my television and watch me give the feedback to the players and not moving the ball fast enough and
give it to them, mate.
Just give a couple of goals.
The old armchair experts, mate. We get better as we get older.
Absolutely.
5 out of 9 too, mate. In the
it was a tough week for me.
Real tough week, but you haven't missed this week, mate. So let's do your little pick 8. Okay, Spike.
Well, I put my thinking cap on. That's what I've done this week. I said, you know what? I'm starting to put my thinking cap on. Last week, I was just, the 3 I missed out. But anyway, we're this week and we're worried about this week. I don't look backwards. There's no revision mirror in my house. I'm looking forward.
Let's do it, mate. I've got the app. It's easy. It's simple at Palmerbet. Just key it straight in.
Let's kick it off on Thursday night footy. We love it. I'm taking the Dogs.
Yes.
The Lions.
Yes.
On Friday. Then we go to Saturday. We've got Collingwood.
Yes.
The Saints.
Yep.
Port Adelaide.
Yep.
And the Bombers.
Oh, yep.
And then we go on Sunday. We got the Giants.
Yep.
The Hawks.
Yep.
And we're from Tigerland.
The shorty to bring us home, big fella. Spida, are you sitting down? Are you sitting down, big fella? Because that is
here I am, ready to load up. What am I going to win?
$339.94, big fella, for $1. That is for $1 return. That is huge.
You know what I'll be doing with that?
340 to 1. Massive.
I'll be taking like top 5 or 6. Yeah. So I'll be going
mix and
6,
match.
Any 6 win, any 7 win,
love
any
it.
8 win. Love it, mate. That's what I love about it. Absolutely.
Right, what else you got for us, big fella, for the Palmerbet followers?
Yeah, I reckon big one. And it's an important one this time of year, and it's towards the top 8. And it's called the Win on the Road.
Yeah, got to do it. Got to do it, mate. Heading into finals. We're in the back half of the season, buddy.
Win on the road. So I reckon the Saints to win.
Oh, yep.
The Giants to win on the road.
Yep.
The Lions.
Yep.
And the Doggies.
Wowzers. So 4 to win on the road, mate. That's going to get you 34-39.
Yeah, and I'd be taking that with and without the Dogs on Thursday night if you're nervous about Sydney.
Well, if you take the Dogs out, if you take the Dogs out, it still gets you 16-38, mate. Saints, Giants, Lions. Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Anything else, mate?
I've got to stick with a 2x2x2x2.
Like 2 goals.
That piece of, people normally call me 4x4. That's between my head and my ears, but this is a 2x2x2x2. So 2 goals. I like Rankin in Adelaide, home deck, loves that forward pocket. Ugle-Hagan, I've never seen a player in better form at the moment. He's really owning the full line for the Bulldogs. He'll love it up at the SCG. Yep. Gary Rowan, he really struggled last week, but he did win him the game the week before. So I love that. Yep. And I'm going to go Mason Wood from the Saints to kick a couple of goals under the beautiful sunshine of Heritage Bank Stadium on the Gold Coast.
Love it, mate. So Ugle-Hagan, Mason Wood, Gary Rowan, I was at Rankin. 2B2, $30.22, mate, on the Palmerbet app. Simple. Geez, there's some value there. There is some value there, mate. If one of these gets up over the weekend, I reckon there's some value for our players at home.
Well, absolutely. And I think, like when you're starting to look at the values of all those different games, and it might be, from the Lions over Melbourne into Giants over Adelaide, or like there's some really good probably 2-3 game multis, then you're getting 210, 250 for sides that are inside the 8.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know how they can do it. But anyway, I'll be all over it. I reckon it's great.
Hey, listen, you should be all over it too. Download that Palmerbet app, get involved. As we always say, they do it in a responsible manner and always think about what you're actually gambling with. Spida, dust off the old clipboard. I reckon, mate, you might get the call up from Kingy to get along to the Gold Coast Suns and just maybe be a little ruck coach or an assistant coach over the next couple of weeks. The back half of the year for the Suns, buddy.
Oh, no, I'm going for the top job. I'm just going straight to Hardwick and saying, do you need a ruck coach when you're coming up, just in case?
Ruck coach, mate.
Played a few games. I've got some highlights if you wanted me to send them through.
Hey, good on you, mate. You have an awesome week, big fella. Great to catch up as always.
Absolutely. Enjoy the Cats versus the Bombers.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.